Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
Hi everyone, Daphne Lage here. Join Nita Lanning and me on the Ragin' 2 The Vlogs show, where we talk about everything, nothing, and all the bits in between. Looking for hour-long conversations about indie comics, social media marketing, and crowdfunding, with the occasional rant and story time? Head on over to the Ragin' 2 channel on YouTube, Mondays through Fridays at 11 a.m. Eastern to join in the chat.
Hit the button.
Someday, and that day may never come, I'll call upon you to do a service for me. But until that day, accept this justice as a gift on my daughter's wedding day.
Grazie, Godfather.
Great. Give this to Clingman. I want reliable people that aren't going to be carried away. I mean, we're not murderers.
And good evening, everyone. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalAsk.com. And someday, maybe you will come back to this podcast and be a guest on our show yourself. We can give you a podcast you can't refuse. That was horrible. I should never do that. Plus, I should shave if I'm going to pull something off like that. This is, of course, the 50th anniversary of The Godfather from Mario Puzo. The movie, of course, is what we're dealing with tonight. Yes, it's in my hands. It's right here, and it can come straight to your hand if you take advantage of the link that we have provided in the description below. Even pinned it at the top of the chat for your convenience if you're somebody who doesn't want to scroll down. I understand. So we are going to talk true crime and mafia tonight, and its relationship in the movies to real life. And with us, we have the made man, Mr. Big himself, Wayne Clingman. Wayne, welcome to the show, sir.
I'm more than happy to be here. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your gesture of friendship.
Glad to have you on. Yes, it's good to have friends in this business.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is I said we're giving away the DVD that you have also contributed to our giveaway tonight.
I will give away a copy of my book, and forgive me, I can't pronounce the man's last name. I'll give away a copy of my book on Frank Barasteri, the last most powerful Godfather in the city of Milwaukee. For a lucky winner, I'd be more than happy to send to them in paperback, ebook, or PDF, whichever they would like.
Well, somebody is going to get it tonight. The link is below. Options are easy. It's just basically you follow us on Twitter, or you subscribe to our channel, or you subscribe to George Peter Gatsis's channel, where you can watch these free movies that they make fun of every Friday and Saturday night. And you can just there's a fourth option. I forget what it is. There's something everybody can do on this to get involved and get your name in the drawing, and we will draw it live on air at the end of the show. So you will see who it is, and we will get your information and make sure that we ship it out. We won't get your information live on the show. We don't do that. We understand some of you are in witness protection, and
yes,
it's not kosher to put that information out there in front of
No.
everybody. So tell us about Frank. I mean, Frank's the subject of the book that's part of the giveaway.
Well, Frank, was the last most powerful godfather in the city of Milwaukee. His father-in-law was a godfather of Milwaukee. That whole family connection was running organized crime in Milwaukee since before the 1900s. And factually, probably would say sadly, perhaps good, that back in the 80s, 1980s, he'd go to jail for being part of the Vegas skim, and that basically dealt dead to the Milwaukee Mafia. It doesn't exist anymore.
These mafias, whether they're Milwaukee or where New York or wherever, they do seem to be very family networked.
Their little older ones were back in the day, 1800s especially, but as time went on, the senior leadership found out that the mafia lifestyle is not going to be good for them. That they're going to come out dead or come out in jail. They weren't going to get out alive, right? So more of the more reasonable ones, like what we've seen, what happened with the Detroit, going on with the Purple Gang, is they had their kids get jobs, have real education, start real businesses, so they could take the family away from crime and make that big money.
So they saw the writing on the wall that hey, I want better for my kids than what I'm doing.
For my kids. I mean, you get people like the Gaudis, did that thing where he brought his kids into it, right? The Bull brought his kids into it, but that was in Arizona after he got out of prison for this bullshit with Gotti. It didn't end out well for them. But again, so in my opinion, some members of the mafia are nothing more than sociopaths. They don't care.
Yeah. And you mentioned the Gaudis. I recall there was a reality show that his wife and kids ran on. And
I think Angel, is one of his daughters. I think one of his daughters are her kids, yeah.
Yeah, and it was it just sort of contributed to this whole romance that American audiences want to have.
I'm going to get in a soapbox for a moment. Too many times America believes what we see on TV, that the mafia somehow is good. It's not. The mafia exists and prey on other people. That's what they do. They prey on other people. Yeah, you alcoholic want beer, you can't get it. It's prohibition. I'll sell you the beer. You want drugs? I'll sell you the drugs. You want something you should have? I'll provide that for you. And when I know what you like, you're mine. If I'm selling that booze, I need something, I know who to call. And you better deliver.
Yeah, there's I don't know. There's perceived sense of honor.
Yeah,
it's almost like there's this this very honorable society, and as long as you live by the rules and you kiss the ring and you say the right thing to the right person, you can be set for life and be live very comfortably.
Do people get by with it for a long time? Yeah. Did some people go to the grave being part of the mafia and never going to jail or really doing bad things to people? Yeah, but they're few and far between. Yeah.
So how did you get involved in having an interest in this?
Well, I grew up in Wisconsin, and I found out that Milwaukee had a mafia guy. I didn't know not much about him. So we decided I had some extra cash. We were going to make a movie either about him, Frank, or Jeffrey Dahmer. And we decided on Frank because at that time, everybody in the third cousin, including my cat, was making a movie about Jeffrey Dahmer. So I thought I should do something different. And that led to me getting, after the movie, we got a bunch of Freedom of Information Act documents. And I said, gee, I have enough here to do a book. So we did.
Did anybody from the family say, hey, this is probably not a good idea?
Well, funny you should mention that. I met his son. We had a free showing of my movie in Racine. His son came down from Milwaukee. His son, I'm 64 at the time. I was probably 62. He's older than I am, say in his 70s then. He threatened me. He threatened my producer. I'm sorry, my director. He threatened us both. I'm an old man. We had two old men fighting, right? My director, Jason Love, used to wrestle in high school. He used to wrestle in college. That would have been a short fight, right? But he was there with his old flunkies. He wouldn't be that tough guy. Yeah, two old men, one old man screaming at another old man doesn't make you very tough, but it makes you look pretty pathetic.
But it never escalated beyond words and
No,
bluster.
no, nothing. No lawsuit threats, nothing like that. I mean, he threatens many people in mafia threaten the writers who write about them. It usually just come up much because, like what we're doing with the Buffalo Mafia, we're using court documents, FBI records, and newspaper accounts. You know, it's kind of hard to sue the FBI.
Yeah, but it's not too hard to silence the reporter and teach a lesson to other ones that, hey, stop it. And I would be afraid that that'd be the thing coming.
I mean, Italy, they do that. In Malta, they do that. Cyprus, they do that. The Balkans, they do that. Russia does that. Not the United States. Mexico, they do that, but not the United States. I think the last reporter that was murdered by organized crime was a reporter in Arizona back in the 80s, I think. With one in the car bomb.
That's still recent to me. Everyone says back in the 80s. I'm like, yeah, that was just high school. I'm 54 years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I guess they're patriotic criminals.
Maybe because back in the day when my father was back in the 80s, right? Back when Frank was blowing up people in cars, you got caught with dynamite. You got caught with dynamite. Now you get caught with dynamite, you go into prison for a long time. You don't get out. I mean, they really cracked down on the illegal use of explosives and stealing explosives and things like that. Crossing state lines. These things are major felonies. They will put you in prison for a very, very long time. The federal government does not play.
Yeah, and the one thing I guess about people who run mafias successfully, they know what the laws are and what the penalties are and what the risks are of getting caught at something. So that's why you don't do those things. You do the things you can get away with.
You do the safer thing. That's why crime is more popular, like health code fraud, Social Security fraud, stealing checks, fraudulent business type activities, crypto are all big in the mob.
Okay, so I was going to ask that because you think about the mob and you start seeing all these gray coats and fedoras, and it's all in black and white in your head, and it's like they're running numbers and they're protection rackets and things like that. Yeah. So what are they doing today? Because I can't imagine they're going up and down the street to the restaurants and saying, "A nice place you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it."
They do that. They do the extortion of businesses. They do that. I mean, the Scores strip club in New York was extorted. They extort strip clubs, gentlemen clubs, bars, restaurants. They do that extortion to this day. They're also big in labor racketeering. Big to this day. Though it's hard for them to do it and get by with it because there's laws. And honest people will pick up the phone and call the police. But things they do now are drugs are still big, not as big as in the Colombian gangs here, but they do drugs still. Right, slavery, prostitution, huge. It's very big, still with the mafia. But more likely than not, it's the white collar crime because if they get caught, maybe 3-4 years in jail.
Yeah, they get locked up in a golf course.
Yeah. No, but sadly, we read about the murders. I mean, not so much in the United States, but kind of kill the mafia people like there's no tomorrow. I mean, I think there's been over 50 murdered in the last dozen years.
I would think, and we saw this on the clip that I just played. And I know I'm taking The Godfather and trying to say this is reality when I know it's not. But you saw Don Corleone saying, "We're not murderers, just send a message, but don't go overboard because we're not killers." And of course, they're killing people throughout the whole movie.
Right. But the Godfather is a nice thing of entertainment, right? I mean, just like the movie The Flashy Papers. Remember that movie with Charles Bronson?
Yeah.
That's a good, entertaining movie, kind of more based on reality than The Godfather is. And I like those movies because one, they're entertaining. Two, it might get you some interest. So you go to the library, you get that book out of the library, you read a book in the library, you go online, you look stuff up, you get interested, you read, you become educated.
So what do you think it is about the mystique of the mafia that makes people want to watch it? I mean, when we have a new Netflix series comes out, says, "Hey, here true crime story. This person defrauded a whole bunch of people. Watch it from the beginning, and we're there. We're just like,
Right.
wow, watch this guy, and we root for him.
I think that part of it's because we can pretend to be something that we're not. I mean, in my home, in my office, as I talk to you, I'm a 6-year-old fat man, right? Balding hair, overweight, stuff like that, right? But I'm watching The Godfather. When I'm writing my book or doing research to do another book, I'm Mr. Big. I'm Mr. Big. I'm not 64 fat. I'm 45. I got that fancy hat, that cigar, and a hat babe on my arm, right?
The good old days.
I'm sorry?
The good old days.
Good old days. It lets you pretend to be something that you're not.
Yeah. Hail Frog G, glad to see you in the chat out there. Eric, the Guapo, hope you're still here as well. Remind everybody, we are doing live giveaway tonight. Just use the link for the Rafflecopter giveaway, and it will be a completely random selection when I go out and click on it at the end of the show live. I will let everybody know who won. And you if you're here, then we can work out the DMs on Twitter or however you want to contact me, and we'll get a shipping address. You will get The Godfather trilogy on Blu-ray. This is 4K Ultra. Also comes with a digital code, so if you're still waiting to get a good player, you can still pop it in on the old website and watch it on your phone or your computer. We are also giving away with this a copy of Wayne's book, and I've got to have the title in front of me. I know I had it before. You know what? It's right here. The Life and Times of Frank Balistrieri.
Yep.
That is a mouthful to say that last name.
Yeah, it certainly is.
And very Italian. Very Italian sounding.
Very Italian.
And that's kind of a myth as well, though, that the mafia is Italian / Sicilian.
No, it's pretty much Italian and Sicilian. I mean, the Irish had organized crime, but they didn't call themselves the mafia. They had organized crime. The Jews did, they still do. The Russians, the Albanians.
I mean, mafia is an Italian word. I think it kind of they adopted.
When most people say mafia, they assume the Italians, right? This group of Italian men and women.
Yeah. Every other ethnicity that comes to America and has an organized crime. In St. Louis, I knew there was the Lebanese mafia.
Yeah.
Except for Japan, they're straight yakuza.
Yeah. I mean, most cities had a mafia at one time, especially the major ones on roads and rivers, because of transportation.
Yeah, because transportation was one of the big legitimate businesses that you would want to get in. The trucking, there always seemed to be like a tie between the mafia and the Teamsters.
Yes. I mean, we know that Frank had relationships with Jimmy Hoffa. We know that Jimmy Hoffa with the Teamsters loaned a lot of money to the people building the casinos in Las Vegas. What we didn't know, and most people don't understand, is those loans made the Teamsters money. So the Teamsters did not lose out making those loans. This weren't done legitimately. They knew the loans were going to be there. Things that they look at for you and I didn't care. They just, okay, write your loan. Yeah, and even people died with that. We got Alan Dorfman, a longtime mafia associate in Chicago, was murdered because they thought he was going to flip before he went to prison. So they killed him. They have no qualms. None.
No. It's business. It's just business. Yeah.
And to think that they don't kill women, they don't kill children, no. In Chicago, from the 1960s to the 1980s, they had something called the Chop Shop Wars, where body shops were taking stolen cars and taking parts off of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Chicago Outfit, what was the mafia was called in Chicago, the Outfit, decided they wanted to have all these garages under their control. So if you don't come under their control, they kill you. And during that time frame, they killed 20 people, to include at least 4 wives / girlfriends. Not, we didn't know she was in the car when it blew up. No, here we go. We know you're in the car. We're going to kill you both. They knew what was going on. They knew what they're going to do. They knew they're going to kill people.
There is no honor. They're criminals. They're flat out criminals. I was going to ask something, and now I can't remember what it was. Oh, I used to read about the Magia, and I'm trying to think if that was like another term for it, or if that was just them trying to not say mafia in their story. Probably, I think it was the latter. I think they just didn't want to say mafia.
Yeah. I mean, that was all kinds of names for all kinds of organizations.
So, we've talked about past mafias. The Frank Balistrieri days in Milwaukee. That's defunct now. I'm guessing there's.
I mean, Frank went to prison. His son took over for a while, but he gave it up. He too would go to prison. Both his sons would go to prison. Then another family took it over for a while. But now we have back in the day, numbers were illegal. Now they sell lottery tickets at my local grocery store, right? There's 20 lottery games they have there, right? How can the mafia compete? Loan sharking used to be illegal. We charged 30% interest. You'd go to jail for it. Now here, payday loan places charge an interest rate of 3,000%. It's perfectly legal. How can the mafia compete?
So, I think it was you that told me if I wanted to get in on the organized crime game, open a candy store and have a Western Union in the back.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So how does that work for the mafia's benefit?
What we do is you can transfer money easily, right? You're not watching. Somebody comes to you, they give you money, you send it to someplace else. It's transferring that money that's important, right? They pick it up, they walk away, they got that money, right? It's kind of sort of washed. What's really nice too is when you get charged people, the Colombian gang members, the Mexican cartels use Western Union a lot because it allows them to ship a lot of money in a hurry. You got a lot of money you have to move, you get Sam, Joe, Peter, Beth, Marianne, they all go to the Western Union, they all ship money.
So all these movies that we see where it's like, I've got $1 million in a duffel bag on my back and I'm going to carry it on a walk across the desert. They wouldn't do that. They'd go to your local Western Union and say, we need to send $1 million to this guy.
Well, they won't do it at one time, but they'll get a number of people to send that amount of money, right? But now they're doing crypto. They would use markets and do it with cryptocurrency.
They lost their shirts with that, I think, because I lost half my investment in crypto.
I mean, there's all kinds of different crypto out there. They also making money from crypto. The pump and dumps, everybody and third cousin have new crypto out, right?
Yeah.
This is going to make money. This is going to make money. This is going to make money.
To the moon.
More what?
To the moon, they will shout.
Moon, right? To the moon. It's all bump and dumps. Things like the penny stack scams. Because in my opinion, many people will read what they see on Twitter and think it's the real thing when it's not. Many people don't take the opportunity to research what they need to research, to make logical, good decisions. They go with their gut. They go with their friends. They go with their guy. Or better yet, get a good-looking girl, right? Give her some cleavage out there. Let her talk about some cryptocurrency she's promoting, right? Oh yeah, they'll end up and down the street to get that crypto.
Yeah, absolutely. Worked for me. All my friends were getting in on the Ethereum game.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm in. Okay, fine. Because they're like, one girl I know, she was like, should I sell everything now? Because if I sell it now, it's like life changing, and if I hold on to it, there's a risk. And everyone, anytime you ask if you should sell, everyone's like, no, hold on. And I think it was November 11th hit, and it was just like. Just a dive.
The idea is that anything can be that. It can be really good, be really bad. But it's important you do that research, right?
Yeah.
And most people don't want to do research. It's easier to read what their friends do online.
So there's still a mafia today, right?
Sure.
I mean, this isn't the 60s, 70s thing that went out of fashion and just became some other way of organized crime. But
I mean, there's still mafia. It's not as big as it was. There's a mafia in Chicago. There's one in New York, one in the state of New Jersey, one in Miami, one in Buffalo, though some people would disagree with me on that one. But I'm coming out with a book on the Buffalo Mafia. There's something going on in California. There's 6, 7 I can think of offhand.
Now, these people is it a situation like in The Godfather? Everybody who knows Don Corleone, they know, yeah, he's mafia. I'm the mailman bringing the mail in. I know he's mafia. do people know that the mafia people are the mafia people, or is it like super secret? Don't tell anybody we're doing
Super
this
secret,
thing.
don't tell anybody. Because the reason why the Buffalo Mafia got by for so long and still going on, not much knowing about them, talking about them, is once they saw what was happening to Gotti, they went underground. I mean, they went underground. The supposed head of the Buffalo Mafia runs a pizzeria. He makes a lot of money selling pizzas. He helped invent buffalo wings, which you can get in your freezer counter in the United States, right?
God bless him.
God bless him. He's making legitimate money. Now, this is because some people belonging to the FBI think he might be organized crime. Who knows, right? But they have to arrest him, prosecute him, and see what happens, right? Interesting, too, that Buffalo's going to build a football stadium going to cost somebody $1 billion, okay? So let's say, just for fun, that the stadium's going to be built at this location, and you buy a building and you turn it into a parking lot. Right? Now you can charge people to park there. Cash.
That's a good moneymaker.
Good moneymaker. I think Frank had 4 or 5 parking garages in Milwaukee. Good moneymaker.
Yeah. And it's all cash, then you don't necessarily report all of that.
Absolutely. It's the same thing with vending machines, right? Back in the day when Frank was big, we had a local large scale food store. Their trucks used to be robbed on Interstate 94 from Milwaukee to Chicago. Used to be robbed all the time. Funny. It's in the grocery trucks with candy and cigarettes were at. Now, what goes well in vending machines? Candy bars and cigarettes.
This is true.
This is true.
I worked for a very large company that was their that was their bread and butter, candy and cigarettes.
Yeah.
Company out of Texas, worldwide distribution.
Yeah.
You probably know who I'm talking about, but
I mean, all it takes is one person on the inside who's willing to feed all information.
Yep.
Not everybody at a company can be to say as long, and I'm sure that's the vast majority of the case. All it takes is that secretary or that dock foreman know what's coming in out of those trucks to sit there and call his contact up and say, yeah, Joe, this truck coming in, we've got 1,000 cartons of Marlboros. It's coming in on Tuesday. This is the truck stop. We know he's going to stop by. Boom, you're there. You borrow some of the packages off that truck, right?
And then you put them in your vending machine and resell them.
Absolutely. Put them in your vending machine and resell them.
Nice work if you can get it.
Yeah.
So is that a good way of telling, I guess, or suspecting if a business might be mafia related, as if they're largely a cash business?
No, it's most the mafia's. The way I understand it is the mafia's involved in all kinds of businesses, be it the mom and pop video store, the guy with a car wash, or the health insurance company. Easily could be all of them. Easily.
So there's no, nothing that sets your radar off when you go into a store. It says, oh, this particular practice makes me think that.
No. I mean, to me, here I live in the inner city, right? When I see what goes on we have candy stores in my inner city, I usually run by young men of all nationalities. They got young men coming and going. The fact that I see young men coming and going all hours of the days and nights makes me think they're not necessarily a candy store, because it takes an awful lot of candy. It takes an awful lot of bags of M&Ms to keep the candy store going, right?
Yes.
Like have fancy cars. What else might be doing? Well, I don't know. I know 2 things. 1, I don't go to the candy store. And 2, I usually see police presence nearby. I'm not stupid. But if I was a mafia guy, I would start a streaming service.
What service?
Streaming.
Okay. Like this.
I would. If I was a mafia guy, I would have. If I was a mafia guy, if I want to make serious money, I start myself an OnlyFans page. I would find myself some young women who want to make it big in movies.
Okay, because I thought you wanted me on there.
That's right. I mean, either one of us won't be there, right? Either one of us won't be there. And they do the things that they do. We get paid. They get paid a little bit. We'll take the rest. Thank you very much. When they get old and not want to do it anymore, we'll find somebody else. That's what I would do.
Yep.
That's what's being done.
So you're basically going into the porn industry, but you're using the legitimate streaming services again.
Right. And there's more oversight in the porn industry, as you call it, than ever before. I mean, today, are there movies being made with unwilling participants in pornography? Yes, they are. Is this as bad today as it was in the 80s? No, not even close. Because if you really easy, pick up that phone and call the FBI and have people there today, and it'd show up today to put a stop to it, right? I suppose kind of made that happen, right? But what you do in your basement, God, here's a movie studio right here.
This is true. This is true. Entire movie shot on that thing.
Absolutely.
George Peter Gatsis in the chat says, anyone gives you a loan is a mob. Well, it is mob. Yeah, if anyone gave me a loan, it would definitely be have to be a mobster. With my even the 9-year-old kid down the street's interest rate on candy is crazy. I can get my own bubble gum for less than 2 jawbreakers and come out ahead. Yes. George runs a YouTube channel, George Peter Gatsis at YouTube, and if you subscribe to that through the form link below, you'll be entered to win the Godfather trilogy on Blu-ray, which we're giving away live tonight. And I'm going to show it again because I can't remember the guy's last name. The Life and Times of Frank Balistreri. By the time I get it right, his son will be dead. So we will be giving away both of those things tonight to one winner right at the end of the show, live on the air.
And I'll do this too. If whoever wins our prize tonight will also win my book on the my new book coming out on the Buffalo Mafia.
Ooh, okay. So we talked a little bit about the Buffalo Mafia because invented buffalo wings, yada yada. And so that's an existent mafia now. That's not like Frank Balistreri, where it's like hey, it's all broken up, and I'm telling history now, and son might get upset because he doesn't like his dad being dragged through the mud or something. But now you're dealing with an extant group of people.
Yes. Very much so.
Does that make you any more trepidatious?
I won't be going to Buffalo anytime soon. Because, again, we're using court documents, a lot of court documents, a lot of FBI information, newspaper accounts, right? I'm still not going to go to Buffalo. I don't think it'd be any danger, but you never know, right?
So all you're really doing is risking offending someone, saying this again, because it's already been published. It's been out there. It's not the same thing as like your roving reporter, investigative on the scene says, "Hey, I just found out this guy's running this, and here's the proof and the evidence." That's the guy who's going to get shot.
Right. I mean, the day an old reporter from Vegas who went after the thing big time and all kinds of expeditions, what I was doing. And
that candy store mafia is going to run off with us here.
Doing the explanation of what's going on in Vegas. He died. He died from a scuba accident. Now, was it a scuba diving accident because he was older, smoked a lot, things happen, or was it an accident? You don't know. That was in danger. The guy in Arizona that was killed was definitely blown up. He was definitely blown up because he was investigating land fraud schemes. It is risky to print out real information about people that have been indicted. It's not risky to write a book about people, but here you go. We're looking at, there's a judge who walked out in front of a train. Okay, a horrible situation. For some reason, he decided he was going to have a bad day. He was walking in front of a train, and thankfully he lived, right? The question is why? Why would somebody do that, right? Then why would he come back to be, if it was so stressful to be a judge and he wouldn't want to commit suicide, why would he want to come back to be a judge, which he does want to do? And what is the relationships around him? What are his business relationships with other people? This I find interesting. This I think grand jury is also finding interesting too. But we'll see what pans out as that time comes. So all kinds of interesting things going on in Buffalo.
Yeah, I guess the best way to murder somebody is to have them commit suicide, like walking in front of a train.
They have actually video evidence of him walking in front of the train. Nobody's pushing him. Nobody's doing that stuff. He's actually walking in front of the train. Unlike in Chicago, when a former school administrator was involved in the Obama administration, involved the Olympic Village that they're going to build there in Chicago if the Olympics would have come to Chicago. But sadly, they did not come to Chicago. Sadly, the school administrator jumped in front of a train. Sadly, with a piece of his skull missing the size of a bullet hole would have made.
Oh, well, that's, I've heard of that before. Guys going down in plane crashes and having a perfect hole in the back of their skull. Just to say, not as bad as the guy who killed himself and then, afterwards wanted to not leave a mess, so he rolled himself up in a rug and left himself in the middle of the park.
Back in the day, there was a mafia guy out in New Jersey who decided to hang himself. Make sure he got the job done. He tied his hands up behind him, then shot himself twice in the head. Suicide.
You go the extra mile to make sure the job's done right, and so that people don't have to clean up after you. It's consideration like that
This they can do, right? To me, I find the fascinating thing about the mafia. It's around us as back in the day is now. And organized crime isn't necessarily only the mafia as we discussed before. What else is going on? I mean, you look at what's going on with Iran-Contra, right? Remember that, right?
I remember Iran-Contra.
Well, you get all kinds of leads into things. You get all things to the Fayetteville, Arkansas, right? That little airport, right?
The Memphis Mafia. Now we're talking.
Yeah, it links to the Clinton administration. What's going on with that? You think there'd be all kinds of people investigating that, but things don't seem to be happening in that direction.
Well, it seems like it seems to me like the jump from the Vegas days to now is that the mafia found the best legitimate business to be in is government.
Yeah, doesn't it? Yeah. I think the cat can on the counter.
Okay.
Think of what you can do if you had the ability to give people contracts.
Yeah,
right.
Because that was the big mafia thing was you get the construction contracts, and then you kick back some to the guy in charge.
Here we go. Servicing, we got money to do COVID stuff, especially with testing. Right. The mayor of Sirius's brother got a no bid contract. Part of the no bid contract he got was he was able to empty out a city-owned building from, of all things, those disgusting people, Toys and Tots. Who really wants old men putting together toys for give the kids? Let's kick them out. Let the mayor's brother show up and use this building for free. But there's nothing wrong about it. We shouldn't even ask questions.
Oh, no. Don't ask questions. What do you think that they're doing something wrong? I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. I mean, back in the day, when I was a child growing up, we expected people to be honest. You assume people are honest. Now, anymore, nothing to do with the mafia. Who is honest anymore? Who can you trust? I can trust you, right? You can trust me, I hope, right?
I hope, yeah.
Do I trust the guy down the street? Do I trust my mechanic? Yeah.
I never trust the mechanic. He always finds something else wrong.
I do indeed.
Natural causes. A hole in the size of the head quite naturally can be fatal. Yes, I completely agree there, Frog.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the fascinating thing about the history of the mafia makes you study all kinds of things. When you study history of the mafia, you can study the history of the Kennedy family, right? You can study the history of Miami. You can study the history of Chicago, city of New York, city of Philadelphia. Why is it that people thought they should move here and do these things? What motivates someone who's poor to do all the things they can do, decide to victimize members of their own nationality? That's quite the thing. I mean, some poor people, like the kids down the street where I live, starting little machine shops next door to where they live to do what they can do to make a couple extra bucks. Some of them turn to drugs. Some of them turn to drugs. I'm sorry, my stroke voice is hacking up. Forgive me. So what makes someone do something honest or train really hard to do something honest? And what makes somebody take the easy way out, try to sell drugs? I'd like to know that myself.
It's laziness and greed and all the things that get the money without having to work for it, because you can get a lot more of it and a lot faster.
Yeah,
and I'm talking myself into something here. I don't know where this conversation take a turn.
Well, I apologize. I led down this direction. I do apologize for that.
You're corrupting me, sir.
But there's other good movies out there too about the mafia. You remember the St. Valentine's Day's Massacre with Jason Robards?
Yes, I do. I thought you meant the real one there. I said I wasn't around for that one. But
That's a good movie. I mean, that one you can get on Amazon Prime cheap. I mean, I really recommend that one. That's a really good one.
So along with the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, what movies have got it right?
St. Valentine's Massacre got it right. Killing Softly is an excellent one. Brad Pitt, that one got it right. That's a really dark film too, but they got it right. They got it. Boom, what's going on to the T. Got it right. The two best ones I would recommend. The Friends of Eddie Coyle gets it right too.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the two ones I would start with. For easy.
Because I had to assume somebody was getting it right. Because
the Valachi Papers, St. Valentine's Massacre have historical records, right?
Right.
Say, the guy that did Eddie Doyle and Killing Softly, he was a crime reporter, so he knew what was going on. He could write from that aspect. Yeah, those are 4 good movies. I highly recommend all of them.
I was going to ask something else, and now I can't recall what it was. It had to do with crime, some sort of crime that I wanted to commit, I guess. We talked about the video industry before, and obviously, there was the whole underground, make it in your basement, unwilling participants, and all that stuff. There's a market.
Right.
I had heard a long time ago, I guess, when people were putting like. And I read a lot of comics, Wayne. So when I'm reading like The Punisher, Mike Barron's run for sure, he's going after all these sleazy kind of guys, and you read about people making snuff films.
Yes.
And I remember somebody coming out saying, this whole snuff film thing, there is no market of snuff films. That doesn't happen. Did you ever run across anything that indicated that? Yeah, it does. The mafia is involved in these snuff films. And for those watching that don't know what a snuff film is you watch somebody actually die on film. They get killed. You're renting it for entertainment.
The FBI did an operation called Mill Porn, which was an operation penetrating the mafia and pornography in the city of Miami. And they quickly found out there was something called child snuff films.
I didn't think I could get any worse than just snuff films itself, but now you just went and, oh God.
Yeah, I mean, we quit that project in a hurry because I'm 64-year-old. I've seen all that stuff in my life, but that's disgusting. It's horrific. And I want people involved in the industry to be taken out in the backyard and shot.
Yeah. I'm all for vigilante justice in a lot of cases, Wayne.
Yeah.
And
I don't know what's worse. I don't know if what's worse is the fact that people make it or that people buy it.
Well, that's the thing. They wouldn't make it if somebody wasn't buying it, would they?
That's right. So what's the demand? And a lot of this stuff goes on in Eastern Europe, but it's Eastern Europe, probably in Haiti, in very, very poor countries where people don't have choices. I mean, to me, I'm sorry, I'll starve before I would do that to your child. That's me.
Yeah, but the people who want it, first of all, they're paying out the nose for it. So they're not poor people. They're not.
No, the people who don't want it, the people who buy whatever it costs to do it, aren't poor, aren't the ones starving to death. The ones they're victimizing are, especially the victims. I mean, but people, notoriously, what the mafia does, that's what organized crime does, is it victimizes the innocent people who can't fight back.
And it does so to get the money from the people. They're the middleman, really. That's all they are. They're salespeople.
You can still call that. You can call that. Certainly could.
You want this? I know where to get it. Give me money. I'll get it for you. And there it is.
And they want to, they do that vertical marketing. That vertical integration. That would be each part of it. And again, with going back to those films from that W.S. Dallas, other one. Trace Lords did it. Not Trace Lords. Deep Throat, right? Deep Throat.
Oh, Linda Lovelace.
Yeah. That movie was made by the mafia. Mafia put a little money into it. That little bit of money made them a great deal of money. It's one of the highest grossing films ever. Pornography is a large booming business. Now, participants are largely willing. They don't last long because people grow old quickly. Somebody lets someone's young and cute at 18 and 21 don't look so cute when they get 35.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, hey, everybody. Enter to win the Godfather trilogy.
I'm sorry. I apologize for making this.
No, I led into it. And, I was.
It's a dark side. The thing is that we have movies like Bugsy that would romanticize that situation. It's bad. Bugsy Siegel was not a nice person. Bugsy Siegel made his money from prostitution. Bugsy Siegel was a pimp. Bugsy Siegel was extorted people. Bugsy Siegel was a drug pusher. Bugsy Siegel was a mad, bad man. That's why he was murdered. Right?
And they called him Bugsy because he was
insane. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, he was touched in the head.
The ones that weren't, another man by the name of Mo Dowlitz he ran booths back in the 20s, right? He went from Detroit area to Vegas. We used his skills to run nightclubs, to run casinos. There he provided a service to people. He knew people wanted to drink, they wanted to gamble. In Vegas, it was legal. He made sure the clubs ran well. He made a fortune doing so, right? To my knowledge, he never killed anybody. He was never associated with anybody's murder. The worst thing that could be said about him is back in the 20s, when there was prohibition, he ran booths. So does that make him a bad person? In that sense, yes. Is he a murderer, piece of shit like Bugsy Siegel? No, he was not. There's a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, same in every business, isn't it? I mean, you got the extremes on both ends, and you got guys that are just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And they're, I'm here in the Ozark Mountains of Arkansas. I can walk into the woods and probably stumble on a still, an old rusted out one. In fact, I probably stumble on a new working one and hopefully not get shot running away from it. But I used to laugh watching that show that's on cable, the Moonshiners show.
Okay.
This is like, they're going out in the woods and they're hiding from the cops and they're building the still and they're selling, like, you're on TV.
The caps know what gets me about the reality shows. They pump it up, right? It's like you remember the Cartel Cartel Crew, I think it was called. They had a bunch of family members of all Hispanic. I'm sorry, Stroke Voice does this. I do apologize. That family members of old cartel members talking about how hard lives they were, right?
Yeah.
And lo and behold, who shows up for these shows is El Chapo's wife, right? Who's worth millions. At that time, worth millions, right? And she's whining to these kids who's also worth millions. Well, how hard her life was because her husband's in fucking prison. Gee, what's he in prison for?
Jaywalking.
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 Or the library books.
He didn't deserve it. He was framed. He was, set up.
Right. But again, even talking about the drug dealing for a second, if there wasn't a demand, not one bit of drugs ever crossed the Mexican border. If nobody was buying the United States, it would never come here.
Yeah. I mean, you want to put the mafia out of business, quit doing drugs, quit gambling, and quit watching pornography.
No.
Live a clean life, and they've got no product.
They got no product. I mean, again, pornography, I don't know how you define porn, but using the broad definition of porn, pornography is made by all the major Hollywood studios, right?
Yeah. You can Google it now. It's free.
You can Google it. Same thing with gambling. State of Wisconsin has legalized gambling. It's almost patriotic to buy a lottery ticket because you're helping the schools get money. Now, do we know if the schools get this money? Don't know. But that's what we're told it's doing with the taxes, right?
Like I said, the most legitimate business to get into is government. You can do the same things and just say it's legal now and still keep the money.
Yeah, if I went down and got that winning lottery ticket, I could turn that in. I would walk out with a check after taxes taken out. I get that check. Same thing when the mafia was running the gambling. If I won in an illegal casino, that's supposedly won by Lake Geneva, by where I live, if I get that money, they'll not only walk me to my car, they'll drive me to the bank to make sure I put it in my bank account successfully because they want me back. They want me to come back. They want my money.
Yeah, they want you to spend it all back there, and
they're going to
take it back slowly.
And they're going to be they can take damn good care of you. They can make sure nothing happens to you. because they want that money back. And they know if you go there and win once, you come back and win,
Yeah, I just I watched today a Vegas movie. I watched 21.
Okay.
Kevin Spacey, and yeah, that was interesting because they were winning blackjack legally, but you can still get your face beat in for counting cards.
Well, see, that's the misnomer. I mean, they'll stop you from gambling and think that you're counting cards. But I'll tell you what, if you think you're counting cards successfully, you're not. The ability to be good card counters is very difficult to come by, and most people think they know how, but they have no idea what they're doing.
I never got into playing blackjack anyway. Too many extra rules. I'm just going to throw dice.
Yeah, I mean,
I
wrote books on craps and blackjack and poker. And I'll tell you one thing: gamblers think they know it all, when most of them don't know the basic rules.
Yep.
Which is too bad.
Always gets out ahead. That roulette wheel, bet on red or black, 50-50 chance, right? This is what the people who run these things know, is that, hey, that one little double zero and that one little single zero that are white spaces throws the entire odds into their favor all the time. Now it's always 51% or 52% in favor of the house. You deal with millions, that's a lot of money.
And they know that people do stupid things, like they chase losses. Yeah. Well, I'll lose this bet, I'll double this one, the next one is I'll win. The simple basic rules of logic don't apply to most gamblers, because to me, it's the endorphins, it's the dopamine that runs to their brain that they want to get, right?
Yep.
Here in Racine, we have a fundraising event for the local Lions Club. They do it Vegas night. The last time we had one before the pandemic, I showed up as Mr. Big, right? I played dice. I played blackjack. I didn't care what I was doing because it's fake money, right? So I played stupid bets that made no sense, and sometimes I would win, and the crowd would go wild, right? So that moment of time, with my tie, my suit on, being Mr. Big, and the crowd goes well, I could pretend myself I was in 1945 Chicago at some fancy nightclub with all these rich people here. I was gambling, I was winning, I was Mr. Big, right? So think of it must be like in Vegas when they got pumped super oxygen, more oxygen in the air to make sure you hyperventilate. You have no sense of time because there's no clocks, right? Rumor has it.
Same light, 24 hours a day. It's just all indoor lighting.
It's so much makes you not going to make those logical decisions that most people should make. It would make in other environments, but no, it makes you go to those casinos. I mean, here you go. Have you been to the D in Vegas yet?
No, I've never been to Vegas myself.
You're gonna have to come down. They have Binions too. Binions have something called cowgirls, and the D has dancing dealers. We have, does it might sound, you get good-looking girls wearing next to nothing, not dealing cards or dealing dice, dance. They get every young man. Yeah, that's right, and lined up for miles. And they sit there and they play that dice and they play those games, hoping to impress that young girl. And all they're doing is making Derek Stevens money, which is funny because Derek Stevens takes care of his customers. That's the idea. Is the mafia also took care of people. I mean, if we talked about cigarettes, right? Taking them off those trucks, right? Again, if people didn't want cheap cigarettes, right?
They would take them off the truck.
You're right. Never would have. Right? If people didn't want something they shouldn't have, there'd be no problems. But we're people. We're people.
Yeah, I mean, I drive. I go back to St. Louis once a month, and I still, I drive into Illinois, across the bridge, and when I lived there, I did this every day. I worked in St. Louis. I lived in Illinois, so every single day, back and forth, back and forth. I'm on autopilot, and now that I do it more seldom, I'm a little bit more aware of. Oh, that's new. That's something. And I see this old sign. I know it's old. It's rusted around the edges. I know it was there the whole time I was driving for, and it said it is illegal to bring cigarettes into Illinois.
Yeah, that's right. Pay tax on it. Yeah. Here you go. City of Chicago had a soda tax, sugar tax, right? So a 2-liter bottle of soda in the city of Chicago was like $4. This was years ago, right? In Indiana, they're $2. What people were doing, they were buying cases of the stuff, right? And taking it back over the border and selling street corners. They're making money. Pack of cigarettes in my local Indian casino cost about $6. In the city of Chicago, they're running about 21. Yeah. So you got people running cigarettes. You most certainly do.
Well, that's just good business. You buy cheap and you undersell.
Absolutely. And they're stupid because they're not. City of Chicago, who came up with that idea, are dumb as bricks because they know that exactly what's going to happen, right? But it gets better. Lloyd Lightfoot wants to put up a casino in the city of Chicago in a high crime district, thinking that these rich people come to gamble will drive the crime away. One, they're not going to come. And two, it's a couple of things you said earlier, all those contracts that given out.
Yeah, contracts got given out to the people who had legitimate businesses.
Yeah, make that campaign donation, maybe they get a contract, right?
Exactly. Wayne, we are at the top of the hour, 56 minutes to go. And I'm going to give your voice a rest here so it doesn't get strained anymore. And we're going to do I'm going to go out to Rafflecopter. We're going to see who's going to get this Godfather Blu-ray and your book. I'm going to drag this over here. I'm not going to put it on the screen right away because it may have more information on the person than they want to be seen on a screen. So let's reload this thing. I am going to click on the entries. I am going to say add a random winner. And we got some entries on here. All right. Add a random winner, and that random winner is Frog G, who was in our chat. Used his name. Frog G, you have you have won this thing. So the good news is that I know how to reach Frog G. He buys a lot of crowdfunded comics, and I ship these crowdfunded comics, and he's on the list a lot. So Frog G, I will. Yes, set it up. You got the Godfather 1, 2, and 3, and the bonus discs. All three are in this unopened case. It's a thing of beauty. I will obviously I'm going to send your shipping information to Mr. Clingman here, so they send the books to you.
If you want to DM me, I'd appreciate it because I'll make sure he gets a copy of the movie that I did too, and the link so you can watch on YouTube. And because I'm a nice guy, because Mr. Big is generous, when you pull another name, I'll send that person a copy of my book too.
Let me see what I can do here. I will add a random winner. The second random winner is Amy M. All right, so Amy, if you're out there, you have a Twitter address here. I will try to reach out to you on that. I've got an email address for her. So I don't know Amy. I've never mailed anything to Amy before. That one's going to take a little bit more research, but I will get her address. I will email her and I will forward it to you so that you can send the book to her.
Outstanding, sir. I really appreciate being on here. I appreciate the interaction that we've had here. I appreciate you consulting with me. And my situation meant a lot to me. You're a good man, sir. I appreciate you knowing me a great deal.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you, Wayne. It always is. I kind of want something big to happen in Mafia News so I can just start a show that night and say, get Wayne on. We got to talk. I feel like you're the inside man.
There's more intelligent people than I am, and it's good pronouncing names far better than I can. But I get the basic information now, thank God.
All right. Well, Wayne, thank you so much for being on the show tonight and for generously donating your books as prizes for our live stream listeners. We will definitely do it again in the future sometime. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much for being here tonight. As I always say, we don't have a show without you being there to watch it. We're just, trees falling in the woods with nobody hearing it. So we're always appreciative that you come and watch. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.